Hey, welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today I have a video based on this website I went to, jimrate.com, which is something I saw on multiple videos on YouTube. Neo, Cards and Comics, had a video about this just recently, and I've never really went to the website, and I went to it just to kind of poke around. And the one thing that caught my attention was this 20,000 plus average daily cards graded per day. And this GemRate website, is basically calculating, the amount of grading done by PSA. And the thing that I'm left with and thinking about when I see those numbers is, and one thing that's really struck me about the hobby is how the hobby itself has not recognized the damage the hobby is kind of doing to the environment. And when I'm seeing these numbers of graded cards, and this is just PSA, this isn't BGS or SGC or all the other grading companies, what's the, can we kind of look at the amount of damage being done or possibly done to the environment, based on the amount of plastic, we're consuming as a hobby? And so when I look at the numbers and I threw them into a spreadsheet and just kind of calculated some of the numbers, and so PSA's holder on average weighs 1.5 ounces, and obviously the ticket holders, the graded pack holders, the big card holders all weigh a lot more. So this number probably is low. And then if you take the grading rate, which you just showed it to you, was more than 20,000. So I kind of just estimated down to a lower number. I'm not trying to overestimate here. I calculated the amount of plastic produced every day, the total plastic per week, per year, and then the total amount in kilograms. And by doing that calculation, I can then calculate the kilograms of CO2 generated per year to create that plastic, and then the metric tons, and then there's some simple math around the amount of trees needed to absorb that. So in 1 year alone, PSA produces almost 30 metric tons of CO2 just to make the plastic, to make the holders. And that's pretty impactful. And I know a lot of people, don't want to hear environmental messages, and that's fine. But this is impactful. This is not a little amount, because you need almost 250,000 trees to absorb all that CO2 being generated. Now, and I'll show you some other ways to look at it. Now I've got some other data here. So I went to the greenhouse gas equivalency calculator, and you can put in the metric tons of CO2 being produced, and it kind of shows you some numbers. The amount of 71 million miles driven by an average passenger vehicle would generate that. 378 tanker trucks worth of gasoline, 344 homes. Some other numbers down here that, the amount of trees, 35,000 acres of U.S. forest would be needed to absorb that amount. It just shows you that, that it's impactful, that, the plastic used just to make the PSA holders, and again, it's a low number, it's an estimate, on the lowest end possible, and only one grading company, right? And I just think it's really interesting that there's been no movement in the hobby around sustainability. Why does the hobby hate the environment so much? And it goes even further. So, this is just plastic, right? So this is just what the holders that are, for grading. This doesn't include the holders one touches, the sheets, the sleeves, the sleeves for the sleeves, the sleeves for the holders, the sleeves for the PSA cards. There's a ton of plastic being used in the hobby. Next up is, sustainability in terms of what companies are really doing that are on the leading edge or really pushing the envelope. And here's Walmart, right? Walmart put out some pretty high-end sustainability goals recently, and they talked about using less plastic, using more recyclable materials, and system-wide efforts so that working with governments around the ability to recycle more, right? And then you look at their packaging goals here. Examples they could do: redesign for recyclability, increase recycled content, and lessen the weight of your package. Has the hobby done any of this? have they actually done any of this anywhere in the hobby to help, reduce the amount of plastic being generated? The answer is no. Look at Amazon. Amazon has some very nice schematics here on how they would reduce, how companies should be thinking about it. They're talking about right sizing the packages, right? They're talking about, not making packaging that's wasteful. Zero additional packaging. Only enough packaging to get the job done. And, this idea of less packaging smiles more. I'm not going to play the video, but you get the idea. They're talking about, don't over package things. Don't over, do it on things like plastic, reduce those, that footprint, right? And there's been a lot of articles on it, water waste. Here's an article from Forbes, about how retail, which is Amazon and Walmart, are really doing a bad job, on recyclable packaging and creating less waste. If you look at, how, the hobby has treated this, they're virtually dead silent. I have not seen any initiatives from Panini, Topps, PSA, anyone on reducing their carbon footprint, reducing the waste in their packaging. And so I want to show you a video here, and this is from Cardsmith Breaks, and I just want to show you. I'll turn the volume down so you can see what's happening here. This is one box of definitive baseball, right? So you got an overwrap, that's plastic, right? So then you've got a box on top that opens up to another box that's plastic on the inside. So there's plastic inserts there that holds that box inside of a plastic box. All that's just thrown away. And so then the plastic box inside of it is foam packaging. Again, and you just threw away that plastic right there. And the cards themselves are also kind of made of, in some cases, plastic, right? So I'll stop right there. That's one box. Look how much material was just thrown away for that one box. Again, this happens over and over and over in this hobby. So again, going back to where we started here, around the green gases, again, these numbers are alarming for 1 year on one grading company. And when you add into the fact that a lot of the materials used to create cards are plastic, a lot of the materials used to package and send cards is plastic. None of that's being captured in these numbers here. If you did a full life cycle analysis of the entire hobby, I'm sure it's going to be horrible compared to other industries that are trying to clean up their act. And I'm not ruling out comic books. Okay, comic books have giant holders, giant footprints, and they've got the printing press issues, the inks and everything else. Everyone has this problem, right? And I'm not advocating for digital. I'm not advocating to get rid of physical items. I'm just saying, we could do better. There's no need to have Topps Definitive have 4,000 throwaway pieces of packaging to sell 10 cards. It's ridiculous. They could do better. We could demand better. I think as a hobby, we should demand better. So, I just want to throw it out there, hear what you think. I really think it's kind of disgusting when I see some of the packaging that's out there for 5 cards, 1 card. And I think, again, we can do better and we can demand better. So, I hope you guys, take the message the right way, that we should demand a little bit better because, it's the right thing to do. And, and if you don't agree, let me know and we can talk about it. But I think this is a discussion we should have openly within the hobby, that sustainability and the initiatives by the companies falls far short of where it should be. All right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.